I have to show you guys my sauna. I, on my old TikTok, did do like a really quick sauna video like a year and a half ago, but I got locked out of that TikTok on accident. So now that I have a YouTube and a new TikTok and a whole new life going on, I want to actually share the DIY sauna, partly because when I was looking to build a DIY sauna, like all of the videos that came up were people that were just like, I'm going to try this, and they're throwing it together and you're watching it for the first time, and while they're doing it for the first time, you don't know if it's going to work. I've been using this now weekly, if not daily, depending on the time frame, for about 3 years now. So I know it works. I know that it's cost effective, and I know that it doesn't make my electric bill just go through the roof, which was honestly a concern when we first built it, because I'm like, what if it is too expensive? It is not. First, a couple of things that you need to know if you're going to DIY a sauna. It's still not going to be completely free unless you already have most of these things. You will need a grow tent with a metal frame. This is a Vivasun. Got it on Amazon. I will have everything linked in the description box. So the tent that I used, other tents that will work, and the different size ranges that with what I've calculated and what I've used will also work. The things that you are not going to be able to find in the description box linked are going to be things that you're going to have to get at like a local hardware store. There's not a whole lot. I think the porcelain backed clamp lights are going to be the only thing you'll need from a local hardware store, but they'll also be cheaper at your local hardware store. So just like, don't screw with it. Just go with what works and what's cheaper. Some other things is like, I needed a sauna. Not only just like for the wellness people, does sauna use 11 minutes a week reduce all-cause mortality by 40%, but for me, I was dealing with extreme autoimmune issues. I had 2 autoimmune diseases. I now have technically 1. My Hashimoto's has been in remission for about a year. Yay. It's awesome. I've been feeling so much better since remission, obviously. When I first started using the sauna, it was on my doctor's recommendation because all of my detox pathways were pretty blocked, and she really needed me to start getting my system functioning better. And she believed that a sauna would really help facilitate that. And I had to start slowly at the beginning. If you have never saunaed, especially if you're like not working with a doctor or a functional medicine practitioner or somebody who knows what your body is doing and to guide you through that, start slow and start with a binder. That could be bentonite clay. That could be diatomaceous earth or DE, or it could be, what's the third one that I've used? Activated charcoal. Any of those 3, about a teaspoon mixed in water, you drink it either right before or right after your sauna, will help if you don't know what your detox pathway, your liver function, what all of that stuff is doing. If you don't, using the sauna has a high likelihood of making you very, very nauseous because your skin is your largest detox organ. It is an organ. So when you first start detoxing, your body's like, oh, yay, we are using a sauna. We're getting things out that we don't typically get to get out, that we store, because there are certain heavy metals, certain toxins that the liver has a hard time, or the kidneys have a hard time processing through because they're just difficult. It's meant to come out through your sweat, but some of that also get dumped into your stomach when you first start. So if you don't want to be nauseous, activated charcoal, DE, bentonite clay, pick whichever one is cheaper, and just utilize it, especially at the beginning of your journey. I don't use a binder anymore, haven't for probably 9 months. But yeah, you figure out your body, you do you, make sure you're working with somebody if you can. I know not everybody has the privilege to be able to work with a doctor or a functional medicine practitioner. I was able to do that when I still had insurance, but now that I am divorced, I no longer have insurance. So moving on from that, hydrate. Make sure you are hydrated and using electrolytes. None of this plain water stuff when you're doing a sauna. Make sure you have either Celtic salt added, any sort of electrolyte that you like to use. Just if you have like Celtic salt and honey, like there's salt and honey, like that's a great place to start. Utilize that. But make sure you are staying hydrated and make sure you shower afterwards and always use a towel underneath you. That should be just, but some people don't know. Always use a towel. And put a towel on your head and keep your eyes closed. Like, don't stare into the lights. They're really bright. Don't hurt your eyes. And also, your head will get hot fastest, but what you need is for your core to get hot. So put a towel over your head, relax, listen to something fun. If you want to listen to something fun, start with 5 minutes and listen to your body, and you can work yourself up. I typically do 45 minutes to an hour now, once a week. When I first started, I did 10 minutes every night and then worked up to 30 minutes every night. But like I said, listen to your body and do what works for you. Now, moving on to, again, the actual building of the thing. I'll give you a tour in a second. There are multiple different types of light bulbs that you can go for, like the light bulbs. I went with the Ruby Lux. I went with them. They were really highly reviewed and people said that they tended to last longer. I can now attest to the fact I have not had to change bulbs in this sauna, even with daily use, for over a year. In the 3 years that I have had this sauna, same bulbs, none of them have gone out, which is awesome. So, like, to me, it's worth it, but they are on the more expensive side of the infrared lights that you could get for the bulbs. But like I said, do what works for you. It made sense for me because if I don't have to buy them again, especially being in Alaska, that works better. Some other things that the sauna does help with, speaking of being in Alaska, is the seasonal depression that basically everybody here will experience to some degree, because we have 8 months of winter and like 6 months of pretty darkness. And I find using the sauna, even just once or twice a week, helps with that red light exposure that we just don't get as much because the sun is not up in the sky a whole lot during the winter. So now we hit your tour. This is my sauna in all of its glory, because I was not willing to spend $3 to $5 grand on an in-home one. And I wasn't going to spend $20 a session to drive to some place that might have a sauna. Like, it wasn't a thing with how often I needed to use it. And now with the divorce, I can have friends come and they can come use it. So it can become like a community thing too, like neighbors and friends and all that jazz. But anyways, like I said, I have the Vivasun. This is a 2x4 grow tent that I actually did use as a grow tent before we moved to this apartment. Before this, we were in a standalone house, and I had a 4x4, so you could fit 2 people in it to sauna at the same time, which is why we have the bench. My ex thought it would be like a bonding experience to sauna at the same time, but then he hated to be next to somebody who was sweaty, so it became a non-starter. But the bench is awesome because I actually sit here and my feet go there, which is why you can use a shorter grow tent. Like, they have them with this footprint, but like half the height, and that would be perfect. You put a towel on the bottom and you sit on the floor. The lights would all come down just a couple of inches and you're good to go. The reason I am glad that this is tall is because technically this is a 2-bedroom apartment. The landlady split it in half, so my son sleeps on that side and I need a way to block the light from this half room, which has become my library and my sauna room. You will need an extension cord, like these 3 lights. Like I said, we have these ceramic backed, which is very important. If they are plastic, they will melt. So you need the ceramic backed clamp lights. This is what you will get at your local hardware store. Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace. Like, pick what works for you, what's one closest, which one's cheapest. They should be between $6 and $15, depending on where you live and which store you're going to. You want ones with the metal cage. It allows air to get in there, and these don't get too hot and they cool down almost immediately. This is my first very horribly done attempt at a fairy day cage because I got super intrigued by the science behind it and wanted to learn how to make them. And it also helps just protect you from the bulb. Like, that's the important part of those. But all of the wires for this side go through there. Those three all go through there. I got one side plugged into an extension cord, and the other 3 lights all plugged in to a power strip / surge protector. It's really important. And then you can just turn them all on from here. You have your lights. They are gorgeous. They get hot very quickly. I'm going to turn them off now. It's so basic. This whole setup, like even if you buy like the big tent and you get the Ruby Lux lights, you're in this for probably $300 or less. Which when if you've looked at saunas, which you probably have if you found my video, they're expensive if you're buying an in-home one where it's all of the things that are like, it's crazy. And this works. Note for when you put these together, I have one light that's too low, and the reason it's still too low is because these clamps are very, very tight, and my grip strength is still like, I really struggle to be able to clip these on. If that's not a problem for you, of course, like that's not a problem for you, but regardless, you need to zip tie them. And you need to not just zip tie this, which like initially I just zip tied these in the back, and that just, like they eventually popped off. That's not the way to do it. You need to go around the pole and through the grips on the clips. That is very important to keep them where you want them to be, and that way you don't have anything popping off or sliding down or breaking. That would be really bad. We don't want any broken glass in a sauna, especially because you are sitting in here naked. Like, you put a towel down, you're naked, you've got the lights on you. You don't want anything breaking or glass or none of that nonsense.
Why saunas what? Everybody is naked.
Well, you're naked in the sauna so the light can hit all of your body and all of your body can sweat.
But why the water? That I found puzzle piece.
Oh, you found a puzzle piece. Don't forget while you're doing this that this could be a huge community tool as well. It doesn't have to be, spending between $150 and $300 on an in-home sauna because, your health needs it or whatever. And it's just for you. Like, it can be for your friend group. It can be for your apartments. If you happen to live alone in your apartment and you have space for it and you have neighbors that that you get along with, they just happen to have kids and they don't have any extra space, it can be for your apartment complex. Like, this can be a community building tool as well. You don't have to always have a gym or a special membership or something to have a wellness tool that is extremely effective, that is utilized around the world. And yeah, we live in a very capitalistic thing, like that's what we're trying to survive in right now. But we can still find ways, I think, to nurture community where we're at. And this can be one of those ways. You can be the sauna person. Bring your own towel and like sponge bath when you're done, go home and shower. But, just be creative with it. Find what works for you, your family, your friend group, your community. And hopefully this can be a tool that can be added to that.